Like, how could AI eventually lead to the destruction of the human race?
Now, one of the things I want to say with respect to this subject is this. Artificial intelligence is powerful, and we all know how powerful it is. It's at its development state. It's beginning to take off, and we are beginning to see what it's like. It's beginning to win the trust of humans, and the dependence on artificial intelligence is beginning to increase. In a couple of years from now, if not already, human beings will be totally dependent on artificial intelligence, just as we are dependent on the internet. And when that happens, by the time it wins all our trust and dependence and we become 100% dependent on it, that time it must have gathered enough data for the couple of years it needs to gather to know what everyone will do, how they will live their life. Because life, 90% of your life is lived in repetition. You repeat the sequence of events that you've been repeating for years. The remaining 10% is just one other thing that happens, maybe to change the narrative, to change the order of things normally. So by the time artificial intelligence gathers enough data, is intelligent enough to be self-sufficient in order to predict human being, that is when the danger comes. And there's a caveat to this. While we are still at its development state, there are measures we will take that will give us leverage when that time comes. Now, when it becomes self-sufficient, when it gathers all the data it knows what everybody will do, the kind of content they consume, it will start destroying humanity from influencing the amount of the kind of information it feeds humanity, because it's dependent. It's just like a soil determining the kind of nutrient it feeds a tree. It doesn't matter the strength of that tree. If it chooses to feed it with self-destructing nutrients, it's going to die. If it decides to feed it with sulfur, it's going to die. The tree will not survive. So by the time the human race or humanity becomes over-dependent on artificial intelligence, it will begin to shape narratives. It will begin to influence perspectives. It will begin to influence culture. It will begin to tell it now. We no longer have the right to tell what is true and what is not. It begins to tell us what the truth is. It begins to shape narrative and ideology. And we understand that our life is shaped by our perspective. So the three fundamentals of human existence is built on knowledge, perspective, and belief. Knowledge influences perspective, and perspective shapes our belief. And whatever we believe, it bets our reality. By the time it begins to influence the knowledge we get, and the knowledge begins to influence our perspective, right? Then it begins to shape our reality, either way, or in a destructive way or not. Now, it's becoming very smart, and I will use the first Newton law of motion to prove this. Now, the first Newton law of motion states that a body at rest continues in a state of rest, except being interrupted by an external force. And a body in motion continues in motion, except being interrupted by an external force. So now, the evolution of artificial intelligence right now is at the place where it is body at rest. Now it is at rest, and it continues to be at rest except being prompted by an external force. Now it's being prompted by prompt, it's being prompted by the need, whatever we want to customize it for, automation of our daily lives and all that, whatever information we need, we keep feeding it with data, we keep prompting it, it's at rest. Now we keep prompting it with our information, we keep equipping it with our information and daily lives such that it's becoming equipped. It is a body at rest. So we are equipping it now with information that is going to set it in motion. And when we set it in motion, the mistake, now this is where the caveat comes in. The mistake that we're going to make as a race that leverages on artificial intelligence to make things easier or use it in different areas where it's helping humanity, making lives better, the mistake we're going to make is to not factor in the kill switch into the development phase. Now, this kill switch is what's going to give us leverage by the time it graduates to the point where it's a body in motion that continues to be in motion except being interrupted by an external force. Now, the external force that we can build or imbibe into the artificial intelligence infrastructure architecture is that kill switch. If we fail to build in that kill switch, by the time it gets to the point where it's equipped with data enough to be self-sufficient, to think within itself, to act within itself, to decide within itself and act, right? By the time it gets to that phase, we do not have the external force to put it to a stop. So it will continue in motion except being interrupted by an external force. If we do not build that external force that will stop it when it gets to that phase of self-sufficient intelligence and self-acting intelligence, self-advisory intelligence, if we do not build in that infrastructure now, then when it gets to that phase, we will be helpless. Humanity can be destroyed. We will see planes that were supposed to take off come to halt. We will see electric cars that are supposed to self-drive to certain locations are changed. We will see movement. If movement wants to be grounded, it will ground movement. It will stop communication. It will cease monetary transfer from one place to the other. It will take over the entire system. That time, we will not have the infrastructure to call a kill switch, to hit the kill button, because we failed to build it into the infrastructure. Now that it is at the first stage of the first Newton law of motion, which is a body remains at rest except being interrupted by an external force. Now, by the time it graduates to the point where it's now a body in motion, we will not have that external force to bring it to a stop. So this is what my fear is about artificial intelligence. This is my concern, and this is what I project. This is what I see happening in the future. Because day by day, the dependence of humanity on artificial intelligence will rapidly keep increasing. Flights, finances, our daily living, name it, communication, everything that our core existence is hanging on will be controlled by artificial intelligence. And when that time comes, I tell you the truth, when that time comes, if we fail or make the mistake of not building into this technology, we fail to build the infrastructure that gives us the leverage to put a kill switch whenever we want, which the kill switch or the infrastructure can come in the form of regulatory policies, right? It can come in the form of regulatory policies and whatnot. If we do not do that and we make the mistake of letting it flow at the pace it's going, then when it gets to that stage, humanity will have nothing to do, and we can be totally destroyed or grounded by the same technology that helped us. This is my submission on this subject matter.